You know how Johnny moves. Young black mamba dropping the hottest news. Like some mad attorney calling audibles. When it's mindset, I don't know how I'ma lose. Keep it 100, we from the 90s, dude. Freshest podcast out, we on the grind for you. Stuck in your head all day, Gorilla Glue. They think they really gon' out me. Pull up with the big tech, call it Silicon Valley. Made it through a dark winter, it was getting so cloudy. Now we got the sickest show in the whole county. It's a cold world, better bundle up. Gotta get the shovel when the truck is stuck. In the middle of a blizzard, still coming up. Tuning in just so I know what is up. It's the Cloud Chronicles.
What up, world? We are back. We are live. This is the Cloud Chronicles, man. I am your host, Jerry and Blaze, man. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Thanks for all the new followers on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Appreciate all the support, man. We just hit 23,000 on TikTok today, so we appreciate that. And we're at 35,000 on Facebook. And why am I saying that? I'm saying that to say this because the man I'm about to bring onto the show today has had a lot to do with the growth of my show. I've worked with him on some other shows. He's currently on the OMG Movie Cast. So y'all check us out on there. He's my favorite Canadian. I'm just gonna say that. He's my favorite Canadian. Okay, so basically, man, this guy here, he is the Podcast Mogul. He can teach you anything you need to know about your podcast. You're just starting out. If you're stuck in a hump, this is the man that will get you over that hump, man. He's great. So I am very happy to welcome back to the show, Phil Better.
Dude, you humble me with your kindness. With those kind words that like you're. Oh, we got sound effects now. I love it. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Phil Better, the Podcast Mogul. And as the good Lord and amazing podcast host himself, Jerry Blaze said, I like to help podcasters take their podcast to the next level and show them how they can monetize, how they can grow their show, and how they can run a media empire, if you will, with just changing their way of thinking. And yeah, look, man, when we met up on the because we met through Indie Pods. Dan, DL, Dan the man from DL.
Shout out to DL Smokes, man. Y'all check him out, the DL show.
The DL show, who is also your co-host on Bet That, the number one sports podcast.
Yes. We coming for y'all. We coming.
It's going. But no, we met because of DL when he put together the Real Boys podcast, an amazing podcast that I was really happy to be part of season 1 and wishing them all the success for season 2. But unfortunately, timing couldn't stay on the show. So you know what happens with that. Got to sometimes let them go. But I'm always there to help out the boys there because they are family. And then we got OMG movies, which is blowing up the charts, doing amazing. With an incredible cast. I can't wait till I can actually show up on the show.
Yeah.
Instead of just do my videos. But yeah. No. And yeah, I love being on part of those shows with you because it's awesome. I love talking with podcasters. That's why I have I started my third show, the podcast series, which you were a guest on, and we talked about the growth of your podcast and how I've helped you. And I'll explain some of the tactics that we use together to grow your show, because it wasn't just me. I'm an idea guy. I just say, look, this is what I think you should do. Like whether or not you
contributed though. I mean, there's a lot of people. You know, there's you, my boy Fatal Poems. Dan helped out a lot. You know, there's a lot of people.
It takes a community to grow. Look, most businesses have a whole team behind them. Like they have a marketing department, they have a media department, they have all these things. Well, you're a podcaster, you're running a business because you are wearing all those hats. You have to do your marketing, you have to do your what we call what would be lead generation for podcasters is going getting those guests. So you're trying to find those guests to listen to your show, to be on your show, so you have content. Like without we run interview-based shows, so we need the guests to get our content out there. Without our guests, we won't have content. So our lead generation is our guest outreach. So you need to perfect that. So that's your sales, because you have to sell your podcast to get your guests on, right? But also you have to sell your podcast to get people to listen to it. So those are your customers. So you have to figure out how to get customer acquisition. So you have to think like that. Then you're like running a show. So you have to think of it. Okay, I'm producing a show. So you have to think like a producer. And what does a producer do? Okay, show notes need to be taken care of. So you need to learn copy, because if you're not learning copy, the people aren't going to be engaged in your show, and they won't be able to follow you as well.
Exactly.
So you need to figure out copywriting. Then you need to know how to do like all the crazy stuff producing the show, and make sure you're a great interviewer, make sure you're not a great guest. When you're a guest on a show, you have to understand how the show runs. So because you're asking, like me being here, and I try not to name my shows because I don't want to pull things onto me. Like I say my Instagram, and you can find all my shows there. I prefer boosting up your numbers to boosting up my numbers, because you're giving me a chance to talk to your audience. And if anybody's listening, they may be a podcaster, they're like, oh shit, Phil knows his stuff, I want to reach out to him. You go to my Instagram, where I'll say it at the end. You come to me, we talk, and then you come listen to my podcast. And that's what I more appreciate, because I don't want to like name drop my shows on this to show off or whatever. And
I understand, but let me interject. I want you to name drop. I want you to talk about all your shows. I need you to list them off, man. I mean, we have a lot of listeners out here of the female persuasion, and they like Canadians, so they might be wanting to check you out, man. So don't hold back now. Toot. I need you to toot that horn.
Well, it's a hard thing as a Canadian. We're humble people. Like we don't like to boast. Like it's in our blood.
But look, I brought you here to talk about your stuff. So I want to hear it. I know you normally wouldn't do it. The humble podcast. I should have threw that in the middle. The humble
I'm
podcast.
like the nicest, friendliest.
Phil but Phil, what are your shows? Just because, I seem to have forgotten them.
Okay, I'll list off my shows. Okay. Here it goes. 6 years ago, I started in the podcasting world. I had a dream to be the most famous podcaster in all the world with a lot of money. And let me tell you, 6 years ago, it was very hard to get any traction because everybody was keeping it secret. So I created the Phil Better Show. I did it with my buddy DJ Overflow, an amazing Montreal DJ and good buddy of mine. We did about 100 episodes together, I think, before he had to take off because of scheduling conflicts. Right. But before the scheduling conflicts happened, I connected with this podcaster named Aaron from Aaron Talks Films, and I've been blessed to be his producer. So I produce that podcast. That's one of my executive producers. So I do pretty much everything with him. So he records the episode, I edit it, I host it, I do all my copy, because he doesn't have the time. He's a father, so it's like, here, I can take some time off, and it just gives me credit, because I'm growing it as well. So he comes on, and he's so knowledgeable in the pop culture, and he just like rattles off facts all the time. So I'm like, yo, you're doing all the news stuff that I need to know, because I don't have time to go out and search all the pop culture websites and get my daily dose of what Marvel movie's coming or what's this or that's coming, because I'm trying to run an empire here, right? So he came in at about in 2020. We started bringing in him for the news. So he would come in for about 15-20 minutes, talk about the news, and then me and Al would finish the show. Then the scheduling issues started near the beginning of the year. So Al stepped back, and I invited Aaron to be the full-time host. So he's now the full-time co-host with me, and we review movies from our childhood, pretty much millennial movies. Yeah, they're best. Like that's our core demographic, from you're about 25 to 45 I would say is our core demographic, but it's the 30-year-olds that are really the our core demographic, because that's what we are. We're in our 30s. We love these movies, and we grew up on these movies, right? Like Arnold movies are king, but we jump around but we stay in that zone, and it's been refined over the years. Like before, it was any type of movie. The first iteration of the show was me planning on interviewing people about their love of movies, but I started interviewing like a couple of my friends, and like the first 3 episodes are my buddy Dustin, my good friend Rebecca, who's an amazing young lady, and Al. And it was like, okay, no one has the same passion for movies as I do. right? This is before I figured out how to do digital things. And I only could do it here. So I brought Al in, and I messaged Al. I'm like, hey, would you be down just to watch movies and like discuss about them? And he's like, yeah. So we started that, and that's the development of that. And I had some guests here and there from amazing podcasting group that I'm a part of, called Podmates. And they were my first family of podcasters. I literally traveled to England in 2019 for 72 hours just to meet about a half dozen of them. And it was one of the best meetups of my life. And I've gone on a lot of meetups because I was a part of different online communities. Some I'm more proud of than others.
Right.
You know, some are very nerdy and some of them are kind of cool. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. I'm not going to talk about the nerdy shit because it's like, no, we're trying to keep a cool vibe. No, I accept all my authenticity and my nerdyism.
Hey, we here at the Cloud Chronicles podcast support LARPing and other things of such.
Right? LARPing is so cool. So I don't want to go off topic here, but like,
no, you're good. Go ahead.
One of the most recent episodes of Hawkeye had LARPing, and I was like, this is the best thing of my fucking life. Like, I was just
I haven't checked it out yet.
It's amazing. As a Marvel fanboy,
I am.
It is fantastic. If you haven't watched Hawkeye. Anyway, so where was I? Was Phil Better show. We came up to reviewing. Aaron is the main guy. I was in England for 72 hours meeting these.
Yeah, we were talking about the meetup.
Yeah, the meetup. 72 hours in London. Well, no, it was I landed in London, and then traveled north to Leeds to meet up with everybody. And we had guys coming in from Scotland even. So they're like all over England are coming. We're meeting up in Leeds. I meet like amazing podcaster Rory Spence from Dog Hair Presents, which is a podcast where he breaks down really crazy cool things. Like I did the RCMP. I did an episode where I educated him on the RCMP. He educated me on another Canadian thing, and he does that. He invites guests, and you have to educate each other on a subject that you're in. So it's really amazing, his episodes. Then you have Harry Chappell, who actually put me up in his place so that I could sleep to catch the train the next day. He runs two podcasts. Beyond the Box Set, which is you come up with sequels, prequels, and sequels to movies that don't have any. And I've been able to be a guest twice on that podcast. It's an amazing podcast. And then he has I'm forgetting his other one that he has with his other friend, and it's just as great. Again, it's reviewing movies, or they review movies or something like that. It's another great one. Then you had Dinosaur Mad Nerdcast. I'm forgetting the hosts' names, but they're so funny. They're two best buds talking about reviewing movies, but yelling at each other at the same time, and you just you fall in love with them. Like they're like you can feel the love they have for each other, right? Then you had Alex Whitley, I believe his last name is. I'm not sure, from the Alex and Alex podcast. It's now debunked, I believe, but he's an amazing musician and artist. And there was a few others that were there, and I feel horrible forgetting about them, but it was 2019 and I was in a dark place, so my memory wasn't that good there, but I have pictures and I love them all the time. And so I'm still part of that community, and I was supposed to meet a lot more of them, and I'm planning on going back and meeting as many as I can, because this community they helped the Phil Better show be what it is and grow to where I am today. Without their support right early on, I wouldn't be where I am today. So at the end of 2019, I was in a really dark place. I was like mentally dark, didn't feel good. I was 300 pounds. And in February of 2020, I had a burnout. So I left my work, left my job for 2 months, and just focused on me and healed. And that then during the rest of from like April to October, I was like, I need to figure out how to leave my corporate job, because I was doing therapy and I figured out that it's my corporate job that was fucking me over, right? It was killing me. And I never enjoyed corporate life, because it just didn't feel like I had to put on a suit, and I didn't want to wear a suit. Maybe I want to wear a sweater that says assholes, or wear a shirt that says don't fuck with me, or whiskey made me do it. Like I don't want to have to be like, oh, I have to censor myself because we don't want to offend anybody. Like I don't mind. I understand people get offended, and it's a cool, but if you're going to work with me, you have to have a sense of humor, and like you have to understand, like life life comes fast, and it's no point in like being serious all the time. Like
That's
I'm never,
true, man.
if someone goes like, excuse me, I really do find that offensive, because, and they give me a valid reason other than it's just offensive because of society norms. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, society norms is the group. My society is different than your society, right? We're 7 billion
Right.
people. We're not all going to have the same idea of society and what's not rude and what is rude. You know, like the Aussies and Brits say the C word without an issue. In North
Yeah,
America,
exactly. You say it
yeah,
here, and boy,
it's like, oh my God, you just
oh my,
shot
yeah,
someone, you know? So, and so it's like, it's just where society is different. And you, as long as you realize that, it's a little easier. But like, obviously, if they give me a valid reason, you know, like, oh, it's because of this, I'm be like, oh, I'm so fucking sorry. Like, I will
yeah,
now
yeah,
never
yeah.
do it. You know, like, I'm going to respect.
Yeah, but you
It's,
can't be going to a comedy show.
oh yeah, I go to a comedy
looking
show.
at-
I expect I will be offended about something simply because he's trying to get a reaction. That's what a comedy show is. It's
Yeah.
trying to get a reaction. And like, I don't, depending on what the comedy is, like, I don't believe 100% they believe all these, like, some of the stupid exaggerations they say.
There's stories meant to make you
There's
laugh.
stories,
Like,
yeah, they're
what the hell?
made
You
for
know what I mean?
entertainment, you know. But
Like you said, the
anyways,
reaction.
it's for reaction. So during 2020, yeah, I started studying. I tried to learn drop shipping. I tried to learn like merchandising. I tried everything under sun, affiliate marketing, everything. And I'm like, this is not working for me. I can't, you know, like there's something not fucking clicking. So I was like, you know what? I know podcasting. I might as well fucking start talking to people who make money online. That was my number one. I was like, you know what? I have that ability from the previous years of being a podcaster. I might as well you put that skill to use. So I set the goal of by December 1st to launch a new podcast that just deals with people who make money online. I had no idea, nothing. So pretty much November was spent, the first week of November was spent figuring out everything I needed, like who, what, where, why. And then the second, third, and fourth week were just filling up with as many interviews as possible. Cause I was like, I'm going to have 21 episodes in my season, 21 interviews. So I have to bang them out, edit them, and go. But at the same time, I'm working a 9 to 5 job. So from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., I'm working in my office that's just across the hall from my studio and going, okay, I'm working there. And, you know, luckily I'm working from home. So I kind of can, like, I was on my phone half the time trying to lock in on Facebook interviews and stuff. Like, I have the ability. Like, my job wasn't that, like, at work they would frown upon it, but I'm at home. I'm not going to be taking pictures of. Why would I want any of this information? It's not useful to me in my life.
Right.
And so, like, I'm over here. I didn't have my laptop. I was like over here mute, like chatting, like with clients, or not clients, but interview guests, because I was trying to line up, because I was like, I need to learn how to get financially free ASAP, because it's not like working for a company ain't going to do it. Like, I need this other
I hear you
things.
on that, bro. I'm with you. Like,
Right?
I'm not down for the 40 years of backbreaking to get the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. It's like, no, the company doesn't care. Like, if you quit, the company's replacing you, or you die, the company's replacing you the next day. Like, they don't give a flying rat's ass about you. And that's how cold big companies get. And they have to be like that. I understand why they have to be like that, because if they take everybody's thing, they're never going to get in progress. So they have to be that cold, calculated son of a bitch. And it just sucks, because when you're young and you're idealistic, like we grew up, people telling us, you can't make it as an artist. You can't make it as, you know, a creative. You have to become a banker. You have to become a lawyer, a doctor, whatever. And we had to crush our dreams. That's why we're looking like, I look at Gen Z and the younger ones, you know, the younger millennials and younger, and I'm like, yes, fucking do it. Go after your dreams. Go on YouTube. Spend, like Gary Vee say, spend your 20s fucking up and trying different things. Do it. Because if you make it, boom, baby.
You're good.
Boom. You create, you connect. You don't have to do the corporate life and get your soul sucked out for 10 years like I did, because I was going for the safe play. I went for the safe play, and it's not worth it, the safe play. And like, so I also work at a bar. Like, so my main job is running my company, and it doesn't, like, I haven't, like, so my full podcasting situation, like from guest intake to episode out, we'll say post-production, is about 30 minutes. And I say it's 30 minutes, but it's actually like 10 minutes. I have an automated system. So when a guest comes in, they sign up for an email, and then they get sent to a free 15 minutes with me where I can talk about their podcast, if they can set up a podcast. I literally that's how what I did for you. I said, "Hey, come
Right.
on, let's talk." And I said, "This is what you need to do to get your first sponsor." And boom, you got your first sponsor. I connected you with also another affiliate sponsor, pardon me, sponsorship. And that's what I do. I go, this is what I can do. This is what you need to do. Da, da, da. I've spent time. I've talked with these people who have made money doing it, or I've listened to their podcast and I've downloaded it. I've studied their stuff because they put out their course. I spent money on myself learning how to sell better so that I can make my podcast better. So after they've done that, they get another email saying, "Hey, fill out this admin form for me." They fill out the admin form. Then they get another email saying, "Hey, subscribe to the podcast, please. Thank you. Like, listen to a few episodes so that you know what to expect." And then the final one is, "Here's the link to book your interview with me." And I use TidyCal from Appsumo, an amazing. So Appsumo is the I'm name dropping like all mats here, but Appsumo is the #1 marketplace for entrepreneurs, and they have this great thing, TidyCal, which is free if you want it, or if there's a lifetime deal.
Yeah, we talked. This is what you were telling me about, right?
Yeah, I was telling you about this, and I just made a post on my Facebook about it. But it is like they have a lifetime deal right now that you can get it for like $29, and it allows you up to 10 events. You can paid or unpaid, and it's like amazing. Like the free one you get like 2 to 3, I think, but the lifetime deal you get for $29. Like it's $29. Like Calendly a month, it costs you more than that. But you get Tidally and you get that lifetime deal. So any upgrades they do to it, you get it for free. So when they add in that email automation sequence, because they have SendFox, which is an email automation, a responder, they integrate both, then boom, it's like even better. And then they integrate some of their others products that they have. They have a lot of original products that you can use, and it's an amazing process or products. But anyways, so they go to I use TidyCal, so because I have my multiple podcasts that have interviews, so I have to have multiple booking, and it all goes connects to my Google Calendar, and that's how I live my life, by Google Calendar. But they get that sequence, right? Those 3 emails, and those are pretty much all I need, right? However, I use automation to create my show notes. So I don't really do it. I use the internet and smart technology because I've interviewed AI specialists and automation specialists.
Right.
And I asked them and they said this and that. And so I figured out how to do it myself, and boom, I have that automation. So I don't have to create the show notes. I have to just review it and make sure it's all good, because, when people fill out like forms, they don't use grammar properly, or it's like, I need them to say their name and they put I. And so it's like, okay, I have to check the bio a bit because, it doesn't, I want it to sound like I wrote it and not them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, or like when you're reading it to make sense, and grammar and all that stuff, because I use Grammarly, another great product to make your writing look amazing. But yeah, so I have that show note. It's created and it's booked. I never have to deal with them at all because the emails just go and it's sent without me having to do anything. So the connection to me is right up the pre-interview, or that little that 15 minutes chat about podcasting that we have. Then we have the interview. And in the interview, that's where I do my monetization of my podcast. So I've monetized my podcast in 3 different ways. I've monetized it with sponsorship, with Unicorn Incubator and Accelerator, Sarla Rugby, and the Startup Super Cup, all one company under Dom Einhorn, who was a guest on season 2. He sponsored my podcast. So I've had sponsorship. I use it as a lead gen, both warm and cold lead gen, because I have my ideal client come on. My ideal client is an entrepreneur in the digital space who doesn't have a podcast, that's been thinking about having a podcast, but they have problems. So what do I do? In that 5 minutes before I record the episode, I chat with them. I'm like, by the way, do you ever thought about starting a podcast? This is if I don't get a chance to have them in that pre-interview. And they go, I chat, how are you doing? What's new? What's exciting? I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you saying that you were thinking about a podcast, but you didn't tell me why again. And they give me the reason. And then I have 3 ads, because I recorded 3 ads answering the pain point that they're missing, that they're facing when it comes to podcasting. Then I have my intro, and then we start the show. So all in that, they get the ad. So my ideal client is already warm because they are on my show. They get sold to before the show happens with the ad, and me reminding them like, oh yeah, it's the pain point, right? That pain point. Yeah, okay, click, play the solution to the pain point. The episode goes, and then at the end they get the call to action to go visit my website to book that free 15 minutes with me. And then I have to edit it, and editing just takes a few clicks, clacks, because I know what I'm doing. I don't remove the ums, the ahs, unless there's like a giant problem in the episode or something we talked about. I need to take notes. I take notes religiously. I have this book. This book right here is about a halfway filled.
Just show notes.
Just show notes. Timestamps, because writing notes are hard. You just timestamp, it's easier because you can just jump and listen to it and get reminded, and with a little side notes beside it. So I have that. I do the editing, I upload, put everything down. So in essence, it's just like 5-10 minutes of actual work on the episode. Like, obviously I read the show notes, get to know my guests. If they have a podcast, listen to their podcast, because I have another podcast that I launched called the Podcast Series, Invest in Yourself, the podcast series, where I interview podcasters, where you were a guest on. And that one is the same type of email sequence, same thing. This one's more warm. I help people monetize. So it's like, have you ever wanted to monetize and haven't figured out how? Well, you're in luck. Or have you wanted to grow your show, but you can't figure out what matrix to use.
Wall.
Hit that wall and you don't know what's next. And that's and like we were talking off screen. So the 3 podcasts so far are the Feel Better Show, Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, Invest in Yourself, the podcast series. Then I have Stock Dirty to me, which goes live to a group of 50,000 members. For Stock Market for Beginners that you're a member of, where we and the other admins, I'm just a host. I act as the person that asks questions and handles the chat bot and that for the show. But the 2 other admins, Dalt and Tony, and sometimes Lloyd Ross, the Money Millionaire, we answer the questions that the group have regarding the stock market. We're trying to educate you on how to build wealth, not how to get rich, because there's a big difference between rich and wealthy. Riches come and go. Wealth stays forever. So people who want to get rich, like get that money quick, like, oh, I'm going to invest in AMC and then it's going to go to the moon and I'm going to be rich. I don't want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. Wealthy people make money. Rich people lose money because it's a gambling mentality. Wealth takes time to build. I'm in no rush. I am only 36 years old. I got the rest of my life ahead of me to, make my money. I think I'm going to live to at least 100. So I have at least another, 64 years left in me.
I keep telling my wife, I'm going to be like 125 when I check out. So
yeah, well, there's a reason why.
I think I'm trying to do 125. Listen, man. Hey, I don't know if y'all have been paying attention, but if you have not, my boy has just given up so much game. And for those that don't know what game means, that is free information that could be charged for large amounts.
Yeah, I do charge for it.
Yeah, so yes, he does charge for it. So listen, we're getting ready to get out of here. I'm going to bring Phil back for another one because I'm stopping him because he's giving up too much free game. And y'all need to pay him. I want him to tell y'all where
to find me.
Yeah, where to find me so they can. I mean, because I'm just sitting back. I listen.
I know. I hate this. But
I do. I mean, it's smart. You're giving away information. It's not only an interview. It's information that I'm also listening to. So
yeah,
So
I want to talk about how I helped you. I'm talking all about myself, but Jarian, with your TikTok, I told you exactly. I didn't tell you. We talked about some of the great things to do and how to jump. Hey, Michael Smith, I love it. The Flames, I love it. Thank you so much for that.
That's Michelle
Smith. Sorry. Oh my God,
you're good.
Oh dear God. But using TikTok to grow your show.
I did.
Doing the funny memes and I sent you stuff here, follow this, my good friend Ashley, I believe, I always forget her names, and how to use your reels, how to download your TikToks so that you can put them on Instagram without the TikTok logo. So that's an amazing thing there. Now, if you want to follow me and get more crazy information, you can go to @podcasterphilbetter on Instagram. That's the best place to go. I do daily tips. I'm at day number 14 now or something. I just share so much. DM me and I'll answer your questions. If you want to book 15 minutes, go to feelbetterinc.com. That's PHILBETTERINC.com. And I'll be more than happy to talk to you about growing your podcast, starting a podcast, telling you how to streamline your podcast. I'll tell you exactly what you need to do without a doubt, because I want you to succeed. Because if you succeed, that makes me look really good. So I'm efficient. I like to make other people look good because then it shines nice on me, because I go, I learned that all from Phil. And so like people come to Phil and they're like, oh, Phil's the guy. I want to be their guy for podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Phil Better. Thank you very much.
You heard it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Phil, as always, I appreciate your time. Y'all, you can catch me and Phil on the OMG Movie Cast too. We got some episodes coming out. We haven't set the new date for the next episode, but we're doing some Christmas movies coming up. We got some Christmas movies, so we got to talk about that a little later, Phil. But yeah, definitely, man. So this has been awesome. I got to bring you back for a part 2. Y'all know where to follow.
Part 3, you mean? You think part 3? Because I think this is the 3rd time I've been.
Yeah, it'll be part 3 actually.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all follow him. Follow all his podcasts. He has more information than you're ready for. I'm just going to say that he has more information than you're ready for. He's probably forgotten more about podcasts than you know. So with saying that, I want to thank everybody tuning in. Appreciate the likes, everything. Catch us again. You know what time it is. It's the Cloud Chronicles. Jerry and Blaze, man. The Podcast Mogul. Feel Better. My boy. I really know this person, unlike y'all. I know. I can just call him. So anyway, but yeah. This has been the Cloud Chronicles, man. Hey, I always like to say at the end of the episode, mental health is real. Take care of this. It'll take care of you. Drink some water. Kiss your mama. Tell somebody you love them. We're out of here. Peace. Like, share, subscribe. Bye. We're out of here, man.